My people, as it dey hot, e don happen o. Femi Falana, he don expose this oil theft, people wey dey thief oil. He don mention names. He don talk say he know these people wey dey do am. Say according to the work wey dey do, say he know names. And he come still talk and mention some names of people wey dey do this thing and people wey dey assist all these people to do this oil theft. Say he don first raise emotion concerning this thing before when they first carry one oil go one country that say the thing worth close to about how many $billion. Saying give FCFC debunk the news because one person with the high authority said the news wey they don't mind them. But now he don't come outside, now he don't expose these people, he don't talk people when they mad, when he know say they do one. As they watch this video, please just they share this video, comment your opinion.
No, not at all. I defend a number of communities in the Niger Delta against oil pollution at home and abroad. So I'm not in any way taken aback. And nobody in the Niger Delta is surprised. And when you talk of discovery, I beg your pardon. I think it was Punch newspaper, the editorial that put it very, very well. When he said that discovery reminds one of the discovery of River Niger, you know, by some colonialists. The communities, the local people have known the source of River Niger for ages, you know. So you can't say you are discovering. What is going on? You know, all this discovery with the great razzmatazz. It's meant to divert the attention of Nigerians from the sources of the crime. Or Bonnie, Vessel, and they're all pretending now. Oh, we have just discovered. There are criminals.
I was asking a question about leaders earlier on. Yes. We've had a minister of petroleum for 8 years, who is Mr. President, and this theft has gone on under his watch. What questions of accountability?
No, the oil theft started 22 years ago, and every regime promised to deal with the crisis.
What questions should we be asking of Mr. President as the Minister of Petroleum?
Now, this time around, we should be asking the Minister of Petroleum Resources to give explanation to Nigerians. Because our OPEC quota now is 1.8 million barrels per day. We are barely producing 900,000 barrels per day. And the GMD of NMPC went to the National Assembly a few days ago to say, oh, we are losing 600,000 barrels per day. Now, you are now just being, because the whole world has turned Nigeria into a butt of jokes. Everybody, how can you have a government in place? And this level of oil theft is going on. So the government has now woken up to discover that there are pipelines that have been producing oil for 9 years, exporting oil out of the country. So we have to do something about it now. But we have not got to the root yet.
So what would this route be for you?
We must identify, if you want to stop it once and for all, the government must identify, expose, name and shame all the companies and public officers that are involved in the oil theft. The companies are known. I know some of them by the nature of my work. A few years ago, we told the government, we did a study. The oil that left Nigeria and discharged in one port in America, Philadelphia port, was about 60.2 million liters, valued at $12.7 billion. We sent within 3 years. One port. We sent a petition to the government, to the EFCC. A top official of the government said, don't investigate, don't mind them. In frustration, we had to sue in court. We're in court. Against Shell, against Total, against Chevron, against Ajib, and some shipping companies that colluded with them to take our oil illegally out of the country. One port. There are other ports all over the world where our oil has been stolen and taken to. Now, if the government is committed today to trace the countries and ports where our oil has been taken to.
In that suit, senior advocate, you've mentioned 4 oil companies.
Yes.
In that suit, are government officials also named? Because that quantum of oil could not have been stolen without the connivance of some state government, federal government officials.
No, we don't have the evidence. We deal with evidence as lawyers. But we have the evidence of those who took what out of Nigeria. within a period of 3 years.
Now, within those 3 years.
Now the duty of the government. But the government wasn't interested to now say, how did this oil get out of Nigeria?
Which is the question, raises the question of security officials.
Because they were loaded somewhere.
Which raises the question of security officials, Mr. Falana.
No, there's no doubt about that. Nobody has denied the fact that security officials are involved. Nobody has denied that.
But then
in fact, that is why every military officer wants to serve in the Niger Delta.
But you also...
By being a member of the task force.
You released a statement recently concerning this, the destruction of some,
of the vessel,
of oil, vessel, and
Yesterday,
all of that.
yes.
Now, the reason for that...
I am asking that the chief of defense staff, who came out publicly to defend her, be asked to resign.
No.
Because we must start somewhere.
I agree with you, but before we even get to that point, there must be some, because he went with the GMD of NNPC to the Niger Delta to look at some of these things, that were, those points that we talked about. They went, whether for the photos or whatever it is, they went there. They saw these things. Okay, fine. However, shouldn't we be asking the military and whoever else, Navy, all of them in the military, to answer questions?
No,
who specifically should be answering this question?
That is what I started yesterday. But let us start with the chief of defense staff that has come out publicly, General Irabor, Lucky Irabor, to say, yes, we have the right to burn the vessel. How? He said, under rules of engagement. Under what section? Under what paragraph of the rules of engagement? And I have come out to say, under the Armed Forces Act, Section 111.
111.
Burning a vessel, burning a ship, burning a building. It's a serious criminal offense. If the suspects are convicted, it's life imprisonment, no option of fine. So it's not something you can just poo-poo.